trauma occurs when an event, a situation, or experience starts to become overwhelming for our bodies to cope. So it's any experience. It's not just the big things like an earthquake or combat. It's also the small things that can lead to trauma. Hi everyone, my name is Chantaeu Munroe, CEO and founder of CKM Healing Consultancy, where we talk about everything trauma. Thank you for joining me on this episode. We are going to be defining what trauma is and how to identify it. Now, when you hear the word trauma, I know a lot of images and ideas and assumptions are twirling around in your head, but what really is trauma? According to Dr. Rothan, he is the CEO and founder of Arizona Trauma Institute and the president of the Trauma Institute International, who says trauma occurs when an event, a situation, or experience starts to become overwhelming for our bodies to cope. So it's any experience. It's not just the big things like an earthquake or combat. It's also the small things that can lead to trauma. For example, let's look at this case. You are on your way home from work in traffic and suddenly somebody decides to run the stoplight and boom, slams into your car. And thankfully, you came out unharmed. Thankfully. However, this affected you emotionally. It left you feeling anxious, irritated, and a fear of going around the wheels of a car. So though that experience happened one time, it still left you emotionally damaged. And that's just how trauma works. Let's look at another example. Let's consider Tommy. Tommy grew up in a household where he was neglected emotionally, and while there's no evidence of physical harm being done, Tommy felt unworthy and unloved, which has left a lasting impact on his emotional well-being. And again, that's just how trauma works. It's not just the big things, it's also the little things that can lead to trauma. There are three types of trauma. Acute, which is one experience happening one time, but it affects you for a lifetime. There is chronic trauma, which is consistent or persistent experiences happening over and over and over again, which can cause complex and devastating effects. And then there is complex trauma, which is a combination of multiple different experiences happening to you all at once that makes it a lot more complicated. It could be natural disaster, it could be a death in the family, it could be abuse. All of this is happening all at once that causes dysfunction or causes an overwhelming reaction in your body that prevents it from coping how it normally is supposed to cope. If you or anyone you know are experiencing any of these traumatic experiences that I have mentioned, whether it's facing the after effects of a car accident, of death or loss, please reach out to a professional who will be able to walk you through the process of healing and uncovering these traumatic experiences so that you can show up as a healthier you for yourself and the people around you. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Stay tuned to CKM Healing Consultancy as we go through trauma, what it is and how to identify it. You won't want to miss what is coming next. So until next time, take care of yourself and others. Bye.